All right, here we are in a rainy Monaco for qualifying. We set a banker lap. That's why we're about a 1.2 seconds ahead, as our stats for this race have increased. Currently P6 as we cross the line. It's good enough for P1. That's 1.2 off the pace of Daruvula. So we come to a near miss through turn 1. That's going to be our second and final run of qualifying.
The grid is set then. That just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. Until then, goodbye. So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1-mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. Welcome to the Formula 2 commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alex Brundle joins us as ever for this. Alex, it's a sprint race. How's the format change going to affect the mentality of the drivers?
Try to leave reverse in the pit lane if you possibly can. You do not want to be going backwards from the front row of the grid. This is the moment where some drivers are able to snatch points they won't be able to later on.
I understand that qualifying didn't go as well as hoped, but I'm confident you'll excel in the race. You were the winner here last season, and I believe you can achieve that again.
And we're heading right into it for the sprint race here in Monaco. Our 5 red lights are on, starting in P9 as we are off to a slow start. Vesti, you saw that was ahead of us, started way better than we did. We're trying to fight for that position here, but we have to see that position behind Daruvula. As we lose a little bit of the ground, 3/10 or so coming up the hill. As you guys remember, we won last time around, last season in the Chasing Glory series by a landslide because of how Monaco is. As we have Porcher side by side with us on the outside of these two corners coming through the Monaco hairpin. And we're still holding on to P9 currently. And you can see, I believe that is Leclerc and Fittipaldi who are side by side. Yes, it is. As the final 6 are side by side as well. Cordial, our teammate, not doing too great back there in P20. A little bit of an oversteer moment there as we're coming out of the corner, putting the power down. But yeah, so already a second back behind Vesti here coming out of the tunnel, and that's going to be a normal thing here in Monaco. The intervals are pretty narrow, especially with mistakes here in Monaco. Coming through the pool section very confidently here through the first lap, and I hate these last few corners. You take that corner too sharp, and your back end clips those corners. So coming out to the DRS straight won't be active till lap 3. Still sitting on P9 behind Vesti, Daruvula, Hadjar, Hauger, Iwasa, Martins, Maini, and Benavides up there in P1 for our lap 1 with Porcher behind in P10. Lap 5 is finally when something is able to happen. We're still behind Vesti, about 6/10, just under 6/10. We have a yellow flag, not sure who it's from. We see a Red Bull up there pull off to the side, and coming down through the hill here, hear a little scrape, and that is Hadjar. No, that is Daruvula pulling off to the right side, and we take a little risky move there. Vesti was going slow. We take the advantage, or take the opportunity to make that move, and we're up behind Daruvula up in P6. So that is, in a sense, 2 positions gained as Hadjar comes to a rolling stop out of the tunnel here in Monaco to the hairpin. And currently sitting P7 behind the 2 MP cars of Hauger and Daruvula. Iwasa, Martins, Maini, Benavides still up there in P1. And then the Vesti, Porcher, Correa behind us to round out the top 10. Our teammate Cordial up into P18 here on lap 5. Moving on to lap 10. Next little piece of action here, we're trying to close in on Daruvula. We have DRS, late brake into his toe. And a little scrape on the wall there. You guys saw that we had a near miss there in qualifying at the end. As we decided to brake late on the inside of Deruvla, he gave us the open window, and we took it. So that's going to be P6 here on lap 11 of 15 for the sprint. And we pushed it as hard as we could with what tire life we had left on Hauger. But that's going to be a strong finish for P6 here in the sprint. And looking forward to the start on the front row for the future race, as we took a lot of curb there. And you can tell how much control we have left of this car on the soft tires.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
A great win there for PHM by Charouz today.
It might not be the same points as the feature race, but it is the same podium, and they get to wave at the fans from it.
And as the adrenaline dies down after another eventful race, here come our top three out onto the podium. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you there. Take care. Monaco. Formula 2 has been welcomed back to this most famous of race locations, and the excitement in the air is building as we count down to the start of today's race. The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1-mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. Let's take a look at the grid positions for today's race. Théo Pourchaire will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from him. And Johnson completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vesti, Deruvla, Dennis Hauger, Hadjar, Awasa, Martins, Benavides, Kushmaini, Correa, Fittipaldi, Clermont Novelak, Arthur Leclerc, Maloney, Stanek, Crawford, Ollie Behrman, Cordial, Vachon, Boschon, and Roy Nissany completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out. So let's get down to the track. It is the Formula 2 race. It is time to introduce you to Alex Brundle. I'm Alex Jakes, and we've got changeable weather out there today. That's making for some nervous team personnel down in the paddock, down in the pit lane.
There are going to be some quivering hands on the tyre guns, aren't there, when they tighten up what could easily be the wrong specification of tyre completely for the conditions. It's a gamble out there.
It was a decent finish in the sprint. It's overcast today for the feature race, but there should be no threat of rain, so go out there and enjoy the race.
The formation lap gets underway for this, the Formula 2 race, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure the car is ready for battle once the lights go out.
there are your tire strategies for today's feature race here in Monaco for F2. The rest of our cars pulling up to the grid slots. We're gonna have to have a really good start off the line for us to get into P1 against Porcher, as the rest of the cars are rounding the corner. And you can see, I believe that is Martin's there in the blue, and then our teammate of Cordial on the right side as the last car comes up to the grid. 5 red lights are on, and it's here in Monaco. We're off to a slow start against Porcher, a little bit of tire spin, and Correa and Miney there in the midfield fighting for positions, as you see a couple up and down positions changing. We have to single file in behind Porcher, 2 tenths back. We're in his gearbox, trying to make a move early if we can. This long left-hander, I am not a fan of this long left-hander, both in F2 and F1, because the braking pulls you out towards the wall. I believe that it's a little bit of a lockup from Vesti there before that left-hander. You can see him turning around just slightly as we're coming around the hairpin towards the bottom of the screen. The yellow flag, as you can see him coming out of that runoff. Very unfortunate for Vesti. He was running in the top 5 as they had that lockup, and we're losing ground to Porcher. We're already 6 tenths, 7 tenths back. We're coming out of the Monaco tunnel here to the hairpin. Really wish they would get rid of this hairpin, make a lot more high speed to this left-hander. Another tricky braking zone for me. Left-hander, if you brake too much, you lose speed. Brake too little, you are into the wall here for the pool section, trying to close that gap. We're about 6 tenths or so is the gap here, as these last final few corners. Really tricky braking zone. You have to brake really early for this car to coast through these last few corners. Put the power down as early as possible for that DRS line. Once again, won't be active till lap 3, as we're still holding on to P2. That's 8 tenths of a gap. Lap 7, you can already see 3.9 now. 4 seconds is the gap between myself and Porcher. It's already lap 7 when anything happened. Porcher, and I believe Martins, actually went into the pits, so we're currently sitting in P1 with Porcher coming into the pits early, I believe onto medium tires. I'm not quite sure. We'll see here in a minute, as we're going to be coming in at the end of this lap for our new set of tires. Derivla sitting behind very closely, only gain about a tenth or so on him, as Hadjar, Martins, Benavides, Correa, Fittipaldi, Leclerc, Nolak, and Behrman for our provisional top 10 as of right now, because we still have some pit stops to do. Coming into the pits, P1, half-second gap between myself and Derivla, and we're going to be swapping over to the soft tires. So soft tires for quite some time, and we have a bad release, so that's going to be unfortunate for us, as I believe that is Derivla ahead of us. Now, it's going to be another driver of that's going to be Hadjar and Derivla, and Porcher is back out on the main straight, going up the hill as he pitted a lap earlier. We're also going to lose positions on Owasa, dropping us back to P6, practically where we finished our sprint race, as we're coming up the hill trying to put the power down and get the heat into these soft tires. You can see the cars trying to pull to the right, as we're coming through the end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2 for the hairpin. And lap 9 of 21, we're going to go to the commentary box and see what they have to say about today's race.
Well, Alex, it's been an interesting race weekend here in Monaco. What do you think is going through these young drivers' heads during this race?
There's a lot happening. Drivers must be highly attuned to their car and the track, constantly planning 3-4 turns ahead and ensuring they hit their apexes. Otherwise, their race could deteriorate, or they might even have to retire the car due to a driving error.
Dealing with the challenges of racing in Monaco is always a struggle, as even a small mistake can be costly. A minor scrape against the wall early in the race can lead to significant issues later on. It teaches you to truly appreciate the skill of these young drivers. You know, it hasn't been an eventful race, but it's definitely one to watch, especially towards the front of the field.
A strong battle continues at the front of the field, which we'll revisit shortly. But for now, attention turns to Stanek's unfortunate halt on the Monaco straight, becoming the second driver to retire from this feature race.
I'm not certain that will suffice for a safety car. If they can move the car to the runoff area, the race will continue without interruption.
I'm sure that's what some of the drivers are hoping for right now. Halfway through the race, they're looking for another chance at overtaking, as it's much more challenging to overtake and secure points here in Monaco.
With the yellow flags cleared, racing continues without the need for a safety car. This allows the leading drivers to enjoy a slight buffer, providing them with a chance to ease up as the race draws to a conclusion.
And that buffer is not going to really help us out because we're 1.8 seconds behind Aruvla at the time of the end of the commentary, and that's going to be a solid P6 finish for the feature race. So a P6 finish for the feature and the sprint, not too bad. We could have gone better, which I really wish it was.
Brilliant stuff from ART today. What a superb victory.
We've heard stories of drivers watching the race on the big screens while they're going around leading with that kind of advantage. I reckon that's what they were doing, you know, AJ.
An amazing race today, and a very well-deserved one too. The team worked very hard to get exactly the right setup out of the F2 car that works for them, and the results speak for themselves. ARTGP winners today. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then.